So let's talk about something we all deal with every single day, the technology in our pockets and on our desks. We're going to dive into what we're calling the algorithmic addiction and really unpack how this tech is built from the ground up to capture the one thing we can never get more of, our attention. Let's get right into it.
I want to start with this quote from Andrew Sullivan. "I used to be a human being." Wow. It hits you, right? Because it perfectly nails that vague, uneasy feeling so many of us have about our relationship with our screens. And it really sets the stage for a question we all need to ask ourselves. I mean, really think about it. When's the last time you put your phone down after scrolling for an hour and felt amazing, energized? Or is it more likely you felt kind of foggy, maybe a little anxious, and just drained? Well, that feeling of digital exhaustion, it's not a bug, it's a feature of a much, much bigger system. Okay, so let's dig into that feeling, that sense that Andrew Sullivan was talking about, this idea of digital burnout that so many of us are grappling with every day.
You know, the author of our source material talks about our time being shattered into unusable shards. And that's such a perfect description, isn't it? It's that constant little twitch, that urge to just check your email, refresh your feed. And every time you do it, you're breaking your focus. You're shattering your own attention. It makes doing deep, meaningful work, or even just being present with your family, feel almost impossible. And for so many of us, this has just become normal.
So what's the machine that's driving this whole thing? Why is it like this? Well, it's time to pull back the curtain and look at the actual business model that powers pretty much every free app and website you use. Right, so here it is, the attention economy. You've probably heard the saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product. And that's exactly it. Your eyeballs, your attention, that's the commodity being bought and sold. Every single second you spend scrolling is a second that platform can sell to an advertiser. So naturally, they have a massive billion-dollar incentive to keep you hooked for as long as humanly possible.
And this quote, from a guy who used to be a design ethicist at Google, Tristan Harris, it just cuts right to the bone, a race to the bottom of the brainstem. He saw from the inside how these apps are designed. He's basically saying this isn't a fair fight. They are intentionally trying to bypass your rational, thinking brain and tap right into your most primal, impulsive instincts.
And this is maybe the most important thing to hear today. If you've ever felt bad about yourself for wasting hours on an endless feed, please let yourself off the hook. This is not a personal failing. You don't just lack willpower. You are one person up against a multi-billion-dollar system with some of the smartest engineers in the world whose entire job is to make you do exactly what you're doing. It is the intended result. So how do they do it? How are they actually hijacking our brains? Let's get into the weeds a little bit and look at the psychological glitch they found and learn to exploit perfectly.
It all comes down to this simple loop. Think of your phone as a slot machine. You post something, that's like putting a coin in. Then you pull the lever, you refresh your feed. And what do you get? Maybe you get a bunch of likes, a little jackpot. Maybe you get a comment. Or maybe you get nothing. That unpredictability is the secret sauce. Each little reward gives your brain a tiny hit of dopamine, the pleasure chemical, which just makes you want to pull that lever again and again and again.
And there's a clinical name for this. It's called intermittent variable rewards. It is one of the most powerful psychological forces ever discovered for shaping behavior. And yeah, it is the exact same brain chemistry that makes slot machines and gambling so incredibly addictive. And it's been engineered directly into your social media feed.
Okay, so that's the problem. And it sounds pretty bleak, I know. But here's the good news. There is a way to fight back. There's a whole philosophy for taking back control and using this technology on our terms.
And it's called digital minimalism. Now, this is not about hating technology or becoming a hermit. It's about being intentional. Instead of just letting apps and notifications tell you how to spend your life, you start with what's actually important to you. You start with your values, and then you ask, does this app, does this piece of tech actually help me live out those values? And you can see here, it's a huge shift in mindset. The default way of thinking, the maximalist way, is driven by FOMO, the fear of missing out. I have to be on this platform in case something happens. The minimalist mindset, though, it's driven by clarity. It says, convenience is not the most important thing. Intention is. It's about finding joy in what you choose to focus on, not anxiety about what you're missing. And this is such a fascinating example, the Amish. We think of them as being anti-technology, but that's not it at all. They are actually what the author calls ingenious hackers. They're not against tech, They are fiercely pro-community. So for any new piece of technology, they put it through a simple test. Will this thing strengthen our community and our families, or will it weaken them? They use tech, but only if it serves their core values. It's an incredible display of intention.
So, what's the big payoff? I mean, what do you really get back when you adopt this kind of philosophy and start to take back control from the algorithms? Let's just start with this one number, 3 hours. According to the tracking app Moment, that is the average amount of time people spend on their phones every single day. Let that sink in. 3 hours a day is 21 hours a week. That's more than 45 full 24-hour days over the course of a year. Gone. And honestly, that number is probably low because the people who download a tracking app are already trying to be mindful.
So what could you do with an extra 45 days a year? I mean, look at this list. You could learn a language. You could learn to play the guitar. You could have real, uninterrupted, meaningful time with the people you love. You could finally get back to that hobby you used to have before life got so busy. This isn't just about avoiding something bad. It's about making space for something truly good.
And that's really the heart of it all. The point isn't to throw your phone into a lake and go live in the woods, unless you want to, of course. The real goal is to put technology back in its proper place, as a tool that serves us, that helps us build a good life, instead of letting it become our life.
So, we want to leave you with this one question. And I mean, really, take a second and think about it. If someone handed you an extra 45 days this year, no strings attached, what would you do with that incredible gift of time? What would you build? What would you learn? Who would you connect with? The answer just might change everything for you.